Today's the day we've been waiting for. The wait is over.
Tyra Banks is a monster. We're talking about Netflix's new America's Next Top Model documentary, which is out on February 16th, today, tomorrow, whenever you watch this. So Netflix gave me early access about a month ago, and I've been waiting to say this. When the trailer dropped for this documentary, everyone said it was going to be propaganda, and I can tell you now, this show is not that. They do not hold back. And someone said she was exec producer. I don't think she is. Not with the things that get said. They go in on her. Like, they do not hold back. America's Next Top Model started off with really good intentions. There's no denying that they showcase people from all walks of life. You had two queer men, two queer black men on screen with a black woman at the helm of it. Really groundbreaking. They basically said that you could be a girl from a trailer park, right? You could be a black queer woman. You could be anyone, and you could end up becoming a star. Wanted to highlight what the fashion industry was like. She wanted to challenge it. She wanted to change that monster that is the fashion industry. But in doing so, became that very monster. And when I say Tyra Banks was a monster, yes, so many other people responsible for this show. But the reason why I say it about Tyra is because you knew what the modeling industry was like. You went through it. So you had the opportunity to change that.
The America's Next Top Model documentary is fucking disgusting. Oh my God, I'm so fucking pissed. That's it. I guess I should have called my therapist and told her that, not y'all, but fuck, we were fucked.
Fuck, we were fucked. Hey, family. How are you guys? Hold on, I'm about to post this on my threads. America's Next Top Model. Okay. Posted on threads. Hey, family. First of all, I missed you guys so much. We are going to have, should it be members only? We're going to have a live this week about how I am not on the East Coast like I had planned because I ended up in the emergency room on Thursday and then got robbed. Yeah. I ended up in the emergency room and then got robbed. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna put a red lip on today because what in the fuck? You know what's so funny? Yes, guys, for those who were like, what? Yes, I ended up in the emergency room, was very calm. I was the calmest bitch in the emergency room. I get very calm during crises. The nurses were laughing at me. They were like, if it wasn't for your stats, we would not believe that you needed to be here. And Bridget actually did she imitated me. I was on hooked up to an IV, talking to the doctor. And Bridget was like, you probably walked in there like, hello, love, I think I'm dying. Can you please help me? And I was like, oh shit, that's exactly what I sounded like. So yeah, ended up in the emergency room, had a sense of humor about it. Then got robbed. Did not have a sense of humor about that because all my IDs, all my credit cards, and the $500 in cash that I had planned to buy different bits and bobs for my mom and my sister for Valentine's Day, I was robbed of all of that. The cash hurts me more than the cards because you can replace a card. You can't replace cash. And some of you might be like, Blue, you can afford to lose $500. No, I can't. I'm a tourist. I can't afford to lose $1. So I got robbed, and that's when I finally got upset. Was still trying to go to Boston until Kendall texted me, Blue, I really don't want you to get on the plane. You literally still have your wristband from the emergency room. And then Estelle called me. You know the scene from America's Next Top Model where Tyra started screaming at that girl, I was rooting for you? Estelle started screaming at me. I've never heard her scream before. One of the things she screamed at me because she was trying to get me to sit my ass down and not go to Boston after, the emergency room and being robbed. Because that's a lot to happen right before you get on a plane. One of the things she said was, I've never used the N-word this much in my life. You're not going. So yeah, guys, thanks to Estelle and Kendall and my sister. My sister also called me and cussed me the fuck out. By the time Bridget said, hey, can I talk to you? I said, no. I'm not about to get on the phone with somebody else cussing me the fuck out. So, but then I found out that Estelle had told Bridget what happened. Like, she fucking snitched on me, bro. She snitched on me. And then Bridget got on a plane, and the next thing I know, there's an Irish wood nymph outside my door talking about, come outside, we're not going to jump you. So yeah. I'm safe. Nobody wants to leave me the fuck alone, but I'm safe. And yeah, we're going to have a story time about that at some point because what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah. So, anyways, guys, that's a story time for another day. I think I might do that story time members only. Because I don't want to be up here talking about my health scare and shit. So I'll think about that. But today, though, honey, first of all, my makeup artist is on vacation because she likes to travel a lot. She a hot girl. Shout out to D. So I had to do my own makeup today. Blue, I'm concerned. Are you okay? Yes, I am fine. I am on medication now for stress. And I'm doing the things that need to be done, and I'm monitoring the situation. It's all stress related, guys. Everything that's ever been, my doctor used to joke, your only problems in life are related to stress and dehydration. If you would just be more relaxed and drink more water. So yeah, I'm gonna do all the things that need to be done. I also want to do a cautionary tale though, because one of the things the nurses told me, and we're going to get into America's Next Top Model in like 3 seconds. One of the things the nurses told me is, Blue, I've been doing this for a very, very, very long time. In fact, my nurse is the same person who does IVs for Kathy Hilton. Very random. Like I was watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills yesterday on the couch while resting and saw my nurse on the TV screen with Kathy fucking Hilton. I'm like, that's who sent me to the emergency room on Thursday. So yeah, Hollywood is weird. So yeah, she was a very nice Black woman. So she was talking to me sister to sister, and she was like, Blue, what's concerning is when I walked into your house, because I was getting an in-home IV for my low iron. She's like, when I walked into your house, your energy was so calm. Your house is so calm. Everything about you is so calm. It's scary that there's no way in hell that anybody would think that your blood pressure is as high as it is right now. Nothing about you says anything but calm. But then you have to think about it. When you have hypertension and stress as a hereditary issue, because the Black community has a lot of hypertension issues. For me, it's hereditary. And so any kind of stress, and I'm incredibly high functioning. Like I'm not one of those people like, oh no, I'm passing out. I'm not one of those. And so, yeah, I'm not I'm not going to make a big drama when I'm not feeling well, which is scary because what she said to me was, Blue, what's happening is the silent killer, though. This is how people have strokes while looking fine. So you need to pack a bag and take your ass to the emergency room right now. I was like, are you for real? She was like, yeah. So she left. I made myself some lunch. I had a nail appointment, and then I went to the emergency room. And then I'm not going to tell you the rest about how I got robbed because then I'm going to get mad and I might spike my blood pressure. Anyways, like the live, guys. I also have, thank you. Ooh, 22, my angel number. Brian Algara, I appreciate you. Just finished my open road candle. Yes, the road opener candle. Thank you. I have an announcement to make. Hey, guys. So our St. Patty's Day virtual meet and greet sold out in under 24 hours. We sold out. However, guys, we have a flash sale. It's actually at the bottom. In addition to the tickets to the happy hour that is sold out, I can't squeeze one more Negro into that happy hour. Okay, we are at capacity. However, though, we still have candles on sale. We have because we're doing them as little bundles. So we have about a dozen or so pure sweetness and road opener candles that I just added to the stock like this morning. So if you want a pure sweetness and a road opener candle and a spiritual bath, that bundle just got added a couple hours ago. And we still have some more of the pure sweetness good juju, which, by the way, guys, the pure sweetness and good juju is the one that I'm going to be doing personally, because the gag is, and this is what's so funny about being somebody who does spiritual work, I had burnt I like to make combination candles for my friends and family. And a combination candle is half the candle is one kind of candle. No, you guys, I'm so sorry. There's no shipping to the UK, US shipping only. But it says it on the ticket. It's US shipping only because it's Eventbrite, right? But I do these half and half candles for my friends and family where, like for Bridget, I did a bottom half of a candle that was all return to sender and the top half was protection. And I sent her a protection and return to sender candle, and she told me that she felt the juju, okay? For myself, I made a Heal Thyself and Clarity and Peace candle. And on the Heal Thyself and Clarity Peace candle, I wrote down clarity and recovery. I said, God, if there's anything I need to do to improve my health this week, let me know. I lit that candle on Monday. I was being sent to the emergency room and given a new prescription by Thursday. And I said, that fucking candle, bruh. This is the thing about candle magic, guys. When you do it a lot, you the conversation becomes quick. The fact that I asked for clarity and recovery on Monday, and by Thursday, I was in the ER being prescribed meds for something I clearly have had wrong with me for months and didn't know. I was like, well, shit, ask and you shall receive. And that's what made me be like, you know what, Blue? go digging through your boxes, because you guys know I made a huge batch of candles right before I moved out of my candle shop, and I thought I had done the complete inventory. Something said, Blue, there's more inventory. So I went into the guest room, started unpacking boxes, and found 24 candles that I did not put on inventory. So this is a long way of saying, if you did not get a chance to go to the meet and greet, I'm sorry I can't squeeze you in, because it's over 100 of us who are going to be in that meet and greet. More than 120, I think it's like 115 of us. We're only going to be doing the meet and greet for 2 hours. I want there to be time to actually meet and greet. So I can't go over 115. That would just feel like irresponsible. And also, though, there are still candle bundles available. And this is because of the Chinese New Year tomorrow. I've been joking with everybody. I must be Chinese, because when I tell you, let me explain to you about Chinese New Year, okay? Let me explain to you about Chinese New Year. I've been telling everybody that the first 6 weeks of 2026 have felt like the backwash of 2025. And sure enough, Chinese New Year agrees with me. According to Chinese New Year, 2026 don't even start till tomorrow. I agree. According to Chinese New Year, we have been in the backwash of 2025 the first 6 weeks. I agree. In fact, I'm thinking I might do a Chinese New Year like tarot reading tomorrow, like a quick, just pull some quick cards for y'all. I might do a tarot reading. Yeah, you know what, guys? Join me tomorrow. I just decided. Join me, and don't wear red, guys, because it's a fire horse year. Too much fire is chaos. We already have a fire horse here. I know it's Chinese New Year, red, blue. You have red nails, red lips. That's fine. I'm wearing green tomorrow. Okay, wear calm colors. Don't wear red. There's some debate about wearing black or white, so avoid them just to be safe. Look, I'm wearing lavender today. See, lavender. Tomorrow I'm wearing sage. I'm gonna be dressed like a fucking incense stick for the next week because my life depends on it. Okay, wear calm colors. We're the kind of colors that make you want to pet yourself. All right. If you are trying to get some money, then I suggest that you buy one of the duo sets of the Road Opener and the Pure Sweetness. If you're trying to get some money without struggle attached, that's why I created that duo, because Pure Sweetness and Road Opener means that I get everything I want, need, deserve, and desire with elegance and ease. Not just money, soft money, right? If you are someone who wants to keep your spirits up and work on your stress levels because you don't want to fucking go back to the emergency room, sorry, do a good juju and Pure Sweetness. That's what I'm finna do. Okay? That's what I'm about to do. All right? They're both still up. And if you're just somebody who got a lot of funky shit still on you, we also have just pure spiritual bath packs where it's just a double pack of spiritual baths. I'm also going to be doing that. It's funny because now that Bridget's in town and knows I'm in town and keeps showing up because, you know, my friend loves me. I love her back. I get it. I used to show up to her house in New York too, so I can't even be mad. Oh, that's karmic. I just realized that. I used to just pull up like, hey, someone told me to check on you. So I guess it is reciprocity. Bridget was looking at some of y'all's candles. And I had to explain to her that they're a flash sale. So if you want to get the URL, it's been flashing in hot pink across the screen. Essential Candle Flash Sale. What is the code? LuckyBlue26.eventbrite.com. Okay? LuckyBlue26.eventbrite.com. I think there's like 30 sets left that I just put up. I think I put up 12 of the Road Opener Pure Sweetness and like another 12 or so of the Good Juju Pure Sweetness. I don't know. I put up mad spiritual baths though. All right, enough of that. It has been 15 minutes. You guys know I was at 15 minutes of just running my mouth because we're sponsored by ADHD. And now it's time to get to the show. Yes. Let's see who's in here. Oh, Florence is in here. Hey, Florence. Who said sorry? Love soft money. Yes, the soft money. In fact, you guys, one of the candles actually says that on the back because you know all the candles have quotes by me. I get plagiarized so much. I put my own fucking quotes on the candles. Okay. Trademark, okay? And one of the quotes is one of my favorite mantras. I get everything I want, need, deserve, and desire with elegance and ease. I get everything. Say it with me one time, guys. I get everything I want. No, seriously, I want you to say it with me. I get everything I want, need, deserve, and desire with elegance and ease. I get everything I want, need, deserve, and desire with elegance and ease. And it's so ironic that that's the message that we're starting off with today. 1550 mark is when we're starting off the recap because I watched the 3-part Netflix top model documentary. Somebody says, Blue, does the bundle? No, the bundles and the tickets are two separate things, love. The tickets are sold out. There's no more entry to the town hall. The tickets are completely sold out. The bundles are an add-on that you can buy by themselves. Two completely different things. Because I knew that I was going to have more bundles than seats. So they're two completely different things. Shout out to those of you who pulled up early and got both. That shit took my breath away. How long did it take for it to sell out? I gave the members a 16-hour heads up. I was going to get 24 hours, but y'all were being a little too quick. I felt bad. I felt bad. The members were a little bit overzealous. So I gave the members 16 hours and we had sold out 90%. And then for like 90 minutes, it was open to the general pop and then it was sold out. So in under a day, town hall has been sold out. We will not be adding anymore. Don't even bother asking me. I love you so much, right? I love y'all so much, which is why I'm not adding any more tickets. More than 115 people, we're not going to even have a chance to have fun. It's going to be like being in the club shoulder to shoulder like this. Right? So if you got both, you God's favorite. Shit, I couldn't have even got both. Thank God I'm the one running the fucking town hall. But if you want bundles, though, the bundles are available. The candle bundles are available by themselves. And every bundle comes with a spiritual bath because I could tell y'all need to wash some shit off. I'm not even giving you the option to skip the spiritual bath, y'all. So if you want spiritual baths, if you want candle bundles, those are available. If you want to sit at the table, you might just have to watch the Patreon replay because I'm not even putting it in members only. I want us to have a good time. Oh, one more thing, because you guys keep pulling me into members questions. I'm trying to get to Tyra Banks. Copyright be whooping my ass. I'm thinking about doing something a little bit sneaky. If my YouTube manager, Bridget, is watching, and I feel like my YouTube manager is just always watching my lives because she's like, Blue, don't get in trouble. Y'all know I like to do things for the plot. That's one of the things Estelle yelled at me. She's like, you can't go to Boston. I know you're going to try to sneak off to Boston because you be doing shit for the plot. And I was like, I mean, yeah, but like, you said like it's a bad thing. I'm thinking about doing very specific live only, which means if you missed the live, you gotta pick it up on Patreon. Live only viewing party of my first ever. This is so embarrassing. Why am I smiling? My first ever web series that my production company did called Sky's the Limit. It came out in 2010. It's actually why my pages are called Blue Centric because I used to have a production company. I'm thinking about doing a viewing party that is live only for members. If you missed it as a member that one time, you can't ever watch it again. And then for copyright reasons, because these videos are full of copyright music, then I'll put it as a like pay-per-view for Patreon. So members, do y'all want us to do the viewing part? This is so cringe. Okay, I'm going to be so embarrassed. This was 16 years ago, okay? And we're going to do 2 episodes at a time because every episode is only like 20 to 30 minutes. So we're going to do a viewing part. You guys are saying yes, okay. Not this weekend because this weekend I'm finally going to say we're going to do a live for members only this weekend called What Really Happened Between Me and Melissa Ford. That's going to be the name of the live. I'm not even finna mince words. The live is going to be called What Really Happened Between Me and Melissa Ford. I've been quiet for 6 years. I've been cute about this for 6 years. And apparently Melissa's back in LA because she got ran off from New York. Interesting. Not us back in the same city. That's fun. Yeah. You thought you were picking on a nobody, huh, fam? So yeah, we're going to do that live. What the fuck really happened between me and Melissa Ford on Saturday. No more buildup. Not Saturday, sorry, Sunday, because we picked 222, right? We wanted to be my angel number. So on 222, at 222. All right, speaking of beautiful women whose reputations are now being, tainted by the truth. You like that segue? Let's talk about Tyra. Because so many times watching the Tyra Banks America's Next Top Model documentary, it reminded me of my time with Melissa Ford. Tyra and Melissa remind me of each other so much, I had to keep grounding myself not to be triggered while watching the 3-part documentary. For those who don't know anything about the documentary, you guys know, we understand here that there are some people who come here just to hang out with us and don't know shit about what we're talking about. So we will be level setting. So even if you've never heard of America's Next Top Model, I think you've heard of America's Next Top Model. But even if you didn't hear about the documentary, or you only heard about America's Next Top Model in shades and it was before your time, or just something that you weren't interested in. Somebody's saying I'm blurry. Wait, I'm blurry? Can somebody confirm that I'm not blurry anymore? Hold on. Should I go look at my Wi-Fi? Looks normal. Somebody said you have two messy women. Two beautiful women. Oh, is my... You know what? You're right. My laptop isn't plugged in. You guys know me so well. Where's my laptop? Whatchamacallit? I'm still here, guys. I'm just trying to connect my laptop. There we go. Hold on. Oh my God, you guys were right. My laptop wasn't. Y'all know I got some, it's the ADHD, y'all. If y'all don't tell me to plug in my laptop, we all gonna just sit here on 3% like last time. Am I less blurry now that my laptop is connected? Jesus. Still blurry? Hold on, let me shut down some. Oh, you know what? I've had my windows open, like 100 windows open for the last week without closing my laptop. So let me close down all my windows. Lord, let's close this all down. Force quit. All right. I've closed down all my windows. I'm plugged into my laptop. Am I still blurry? Somebody said, give it a minute. Okay. Y'all, my internet is up. Hold on. Let me go check my internet real quick. No, my internet's up. Hold on. Let me check. Yeah, it's up. Y'all, can I be honest? So there's like a flash flood warning in LA. It's raining like crazy in LA, so it might be because of the weather. I'm still blurry. Hold on. Let me go see. Is Tyra Banks fucking up my internet on purpose? Hold on. Let me go put. Oh, I am still blurry. Look at me. Oh no. Guys, are we gonna have to cancel it because I'm blurry again? Somebody said, oh no, yes, the weather. You guys don't understand. LA is not built for rain. We respond to rain the way the East Coast responds to. And you guys told me to get Fios because it's the best. What is it, 5G, Verizon. Were y'all blowing smoke at my ass? Somebody said, can I refresh the live? Okay, you know what? No, I'm still looking at me. Ooh, I look blurry as shit. I'm too cute to be this blurry. All right, guys. I'm gonna restart the entire computer and come back. So you're gonna just have to like watch the screen for 2 minutes while I restart. Okay, I'll be right back. Restart my entire laptop. Okay, how do I look now? Well, something said live streaming on Twitter is experiencing issues today. If you can't find your live on X, you can manually post it. Oh, you guys, the whole world seems to be going through something. Okay, I'm looking at my face on the screen. I'm still blurry. Is it Tyra? Is Tyra Banks now bish? Okay, no, I'm not blurry no more. I'm looking at myself. I look semi-normal. Yes, today's drink is, somebody said, is it a theme drink? Yeah, today's drink is going to be watermelon because there was some coonery afoot. I'm not joking. I'm drinking a watermelon spritzer right now. Oh, it is getting better. Hold on, let me make it big so I can see myself. Okay, I can see me. I'm clear. Look, I'm looking at me. I look pretty clear. So let's jump into it because apparently the feds are watching. Timestamp for the Timestamp Warriors, 2640 is where the review starts because you know I wouldn't be alive if some shit didn't go down, child. Look, I just work here, okay? I just work here. I missed y'all so much. I really did. All right, guys, we're going to jump right in. Let me pull up the clip real quick. Honestly, I think the fact that I go weeks without turning off my laptop might be something to do with it. I'm not even gonna hold you. All right, let's level set for those of you who do not know too much about this. You guys know I only have about an hour left because I have to get ready to go on Carlos's show. By the way, I love it when the Blue Crew shows up and announces himself with Carlos and gets to watch me and Carlos and Dustin and Claudia have a good kiki. I think today we're gonna be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion part 1. So that's gonna be fun. All right, let's go right into level setting.
Finally address the controversy.
I realized Tyra would do anything for the success of her show.
I knew I went too far.
We know America's Next Top Model is getting a documentary. So will this just be a fluff piece that makes Tyra Banks look good? Or will she finally address the accusation that Adrienne never got her prize for winning season 1? Or that Angelique was disqualified after being announced the winner of her season?
The answer is no. She didn't address none of that shit. She didn't address none of that. None of it.
Therefore, not having to give her prizes. Or the accusations that some of the contestants were emotionally manipulated just to get a storyline. There are so many accusations from former contestants. Are these going to be addressed? Over the years, Tyra has responded saying that she has empathy for the contestants and that the show was a reflection of the time period in which it was made. Basically saying America's Next Top Model was toxic because the modeling industry was toxic.
Yep.
Look, a lot of us are really excited to watch this documentary because we're finally getting a behind-the-scenes look at one of our favorite shows. But if Tyra isn't going to address these accusations, I can promise you Janice Dickinson will. And she's getting her own documentary. I believe that one comes out in March. Which one will you be watching?
On the show, they told us we'd win all this shit that we were never going to win. They lied to us.
America's Next Top Model is getting their own documentary on Netflix. But Adrienne Curry is already talking. I happen to be scrolling through.
By the way, for those who don't know who Adrienne Curry is the first winner ever of America's Next Top Model. And I find it so funny that Tyra Banks made such a huge point about breaking barriers on the show, but even by her own admission or the admission of the people who are involved in the documentary, oh God, they're doing construction next door. Really? What is going on today? For those who don't know, the shop is being built next door to my house. Can y'all hear that? Anyways, Adrienne was the first winner ever, and she didn't get shit and was living in the projects. We're going to get to that in a second. Let me close my window.
TikTok and saw her on live. In this live, she was talking about how fake the show is, specifically what she should have gotten as a winner.
When I won the show, I thought I was going to be a huge Revlon cover girl. So they pushed off me getting this Revlon prize for like 8 months. I went on season 2 of Top Model where they told me to lie and tell them how great my life was.
When she won season 1 of America's Next Top Model, she was promised to become America's Next Top Model. And she says she never got anything.
I mean, I literally lived in the projects. When they picked me up in the limo, I was terrified.
In fact, the way
Can you imagine being picked up in a limo while you're living in the projects? How unsafe that is. I intentionally leave the house looking as homeless as possible when I'm running errands and have a lot of money on me because I don't want to look like what's in my purse. Why the fuck? Let me shut
they
up.
got her to keep promoting the show after she won is by telling her, your contract is still coming. But it never did. So imagine winning the biggest show on TV.
Y'all need to claim Tyra because y'all also need to claim Nikki. Tyra and Nikki are what happened when a Sag has no equilibrium. Okay? It's a cautionary tale for Sages everywhere.
And then having to pretend like it changed your life when it didn't. Now,
Yeah.
Adrienne was only speaking on her experience, which makes me want to watch this documentary even more because I know there's more contestants with horror stories. Who are you hoping to see on this documentary?
Reality check inside Mary.
So guys, we're about to get into who is in the documentary. I want you guys to have a visual of who's in the doc while I go over the general beats. I'm going to go over the general beats because number one, if you know anything about America's Next Top Model, I don't think you're going to be hearing anything groundbreaking, right? I don't think anybody watching this documentary who had any sense of understanding about the show walked away learning anything. If anything, it just confirmed a lot of suspicions and double clicked on fuckery that we could already smell in the air, right? It was not a deep dive. It also wasn't shallow. It was like skimming slightly below the surface. Does that make sense? It was slightly too in depth to be considered shallow, but it was way too shallow to be considered deep. It was like just beneath the skin, which I think was probably the only way Tyra Banks would have agreed to be a part of it, because you know Tyra Banks has an aversion to depth, right? Because in the depth is where her bullshit usually hides.
America's Next Top Model is now available to stream on Netflix, and here's everybody you can expect to see in the first episode. They got Shandy, yes! Little Miss Kiss My Fat Ass herself, Tyra Banks. A video of Liz Smith being like, yeah, Tyra Banks was at the Four Seasons. Nobody knew it was Tyra Banks because she had her clothes on.
That felt racist. At the very beginning, there's a part where this lady says, Tyra Banks, we saw her at the Four Seasons, and this was right after she had been on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And she's like, but nobody, recognized her because she didn't have no clothes on. No, because she had clothes on, right? You don't say that about Gisele Bundchen. You don't say that about Heidi Klum. There are plenty of supermodels who Tyra was neck and parcel with, who you see them in bikinis all the time, and yet you don't act like they're some kind of Jezebel. So what's tricky about Tyra, and let's get right into like the beats of it, right? Because this construction noise, y'all can't hear that? I'm really about to go next door and ask them how long they're going to be doing that. Again, it's tricky to complain about construction when it's for you, Blue Perspective. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Oh, you guys can't hear it. Good. So let's start with some quick beats about how it started, because the way the entire thing starts was brilliant. I actually think the beginning of, hold on, why is it not pulling up? Yeah, we're definitely in a Mercury retrograde shadow period. I'm experiencing a lot of Mercury retrograde energy. It's also too because of the fact that we're ending a bullshit year. Hold on, there we go. None of the notes that I took on my phone are showing up on my laptop, even though all my Mac products are supposed to sync up. That is weird. So I'm just going to be looking at my phone. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this feels very Mercury retrograde energy. Hold on, let me do a search real quick. 2020. No, that's weird. None of my notes are okay. I'm going to let it go. No need to dwell. All right. So the first way that we start is we start with that infamous clip about Tiffany, right? For those who don't know, when Tyra says, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. The young lady, the young Black girl that she's yelling at is Tiffany. So I thought it was brilliant that was the intro. It starts right with, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you, right? Just to pull you into like, oh, we're about to get into some shit. Then Tyra starts by saying, hey, this story, actually, even though it starts in the early 2000s, the reason why we're here right now kicks off in 2020. It was during the pandemic. People loved Top Model. They couldn't leave the house. They started binge watching the show because it was available on streamers. And that's when they realized that Top Model had aged like milk. And so in Tyra's mind, she's getting backlash 20 years after the fact because the pandemic gave us time to rewatch the show with fresh eyes. She might not be wrong. So I'm like, okay, well, she's being objective. I never thought I would say Tyra Banks is objective. This is the same Tyra Banks who I grew up idolizing until she had a talk show. Tyra Banks' talk show is what made me fall out of love and become disenchanted with her. Because as a young, curvy girl with an ED, disordered eating, who was constantly starving myself to have a certain standard of beauty, but who had really wide hips and really heavy breasts, her body was the closest I had ever seen to mine when I was at my slim, right? Because even slim, my body was like that. It was always kind of full, even when I was not eating. And so I always felt like Tyra represented me in a way, even though I didn't look anything like her, seeing somebody with that many body parts, right? Seeing somebody with that many body parts be, seen as beautiful, it felt like, oh my God, this is as close as I'm going to get to representation in the 90s and early 2000s, where anybody past a size 4 is called fat, right? When I was 19, I signed a plus size modeling contract as a size 8. I'm 5'9". I was 5'9" and 175 pounds. And if you know anything about tall Black women with big breasts, that is not big. Right now, they would call it mid-size, right? But back then, I might as well have been a fucking walrus. And so, as somebody who actually dieted my way into being fat because I was born into and coming of age in a time where women who were size 6s were being called fat. So me, the size 8/10, I was an elephant, right? I dieted so much that my metabolism got ruined. And that's ironically what actually made me fat. Now, I made peace with the word fat. Members already know, we did a whole members live about my body positivity journey. So the word fat does not, there's no emotion around that word for me. It's just a descriptor. I recognize for some people it is triggering. But because I came about in that era, I idolized Tyra because I thought she was going to keep me safe. I thought she was someone who cared about girls like me. She lied to all of us. Let me say this first. I think she lied to herself because in my notes, I'm going to be looking down. Tyra writes when she wanted to do the show because she had an idea, what if I did a modeling version of America's Next Top Model? She makes it very clear that she had some bitterness around the fact that so many people called her ugly and fat and black and all these names. Mind you, this is a light-skinned black woman with freckles and hazel eyes. And they were acting like she was Aunt Jemima, okay? So when she was being called fat and ugly and black and all these things, she had a grievance with the modeling community and thought, and her exact words were, models are called unsympathetic characters. They are called vapid. That's what producers told her when she brought her idea. She and Ken Mock, who's her co-producer, they brought this idea and pitched it to every single person who had any kind of pull. And they said, models are unsympathetic characters. They're vapid. As somebody who's an unsympathetic character, I actually agree with that. If people think that you have too much favor, because favor is not fair, they're not going to find you sympathetic. Even someone like me, I share with you guys when I'm going through stuff and I'm sincere, and you might find some sympathy in that because you care about me and we have a great ongoing dialogue. But most people, when they see a woman who doesn't cry and doesn't fall to pieces, say, hey, I think I'm sick. I don't think I feel well. They're like, well, you're not a fucking damsel. You look more fucking confident than me on a good day, bitch. You'll figure it out, right? There are people in this world who have to make peace with the fact that they are unsympathetic characters. High functioning women, models, rich people. A rich person could be having the worst year of their life and it's going to be hard to get sympathy from anybody. And so when she says that models are unsympathetic characters, I was like, okay, so far, Tyra Banks seems to have perspective. Maybe getting older actually did something to her brain. Maybe she found her a good therapist, right? So then she mentions that UPN, not UPN, was it CW or is it either one? Let me see. Tyra discusses the show. Yes, it was My Payback, UPN, which I think later became CW. UPN was literally the last platform that she went to go see. They were like, Tyra, if UPN does not buy the show, there's nobody left to go to. So Tyra decided to do what she does actually best. She peacocked. She started strutting with Miss J by her side and Mr. J by her other side, flanked like her two gay Avengers, right? And she started just doing the Tyra thing. And they had the vision. They were like, oh, you want to make America's, what do you call it? American Idol, but for models. And you're going to have your two gay boyfriends being there by your side and with big personalities. Oh, we get it. We get it. So her exact words, when I want to read this quote, when the show finally got greenlit after being rejected by everybody, was, it was my payback. You might have a magazine, but I have a TV show. I don't think Tyra Banks realizes how much that little moment in the intro of this documentary immediately circled why she was so passionate about the show and also why she became the very monster she claimed to be fighting against. How you gain something is how you lose it. If you're doing the show to feed your ego and to feel like you got your lick back because the industry made you feel small, and you're thinking, even 25 years after the fact, you might have a magazine and I went to her, you might have called me a black bitch, but I got my own show. That premise is already so steeped in ego that anybody that you purport to be trying to keep safe, if they are not in servitude to your ego, they are going to be finding themselves shit out of luck. And that's exactly what the fuck happened, right? Tyra admitted, and I think a lot of people miss this. Tyra admitted, and I'm looking at my notes on my phone. Tyra admitted in the documentary that this was her lick back to the modeling world. Even though she sold it as this way to, oh my God, show how everybody can be beautiful. Sure, that was the icing. right? Making women feel seen and being able to posture as a savior was the icing. The cake has been and will always be Tyra Banks' ego. And that's why her talk show made me disenchanted with her, because she kept centering herself in other people's narratives. Tyra Banks does not know how to be an ally. Tyra Banks thinks like a white woman who's never actually had anybody sincerely hold them accountable through consequences. Even when she had consequences, it was like a soft landing of a consequence, right? And so Tyra, being the Karen that she is on her talk show, she would do things like she would wear a fat suit for 3 hours, cry about how people made fun of her for being fat for 3 hours, and then interview actual fat people and have them hold her and give her counseling. Oh, it's gonna be okay, Tyra, you're beautiful. Bitch, she can't take off the fat. She's actually fat. Why is she consoling you? Or she'd be homeless for 75 minutes and then be crying to the homeless people like, oh, that was so hard on me. And niggas like, I live under a bridge, bitch. I know. A true ally is someone who knows they can never be centered, because that's not allyship, that's co-opting. Tyra Banks always calls herself an ally and then pushes you out the way and centers herself. I have seen it happen for 30 years now. That is not a fluke, that is her character. And it kept showing up, even in this documentary, while she was feigning accountability. Oof. One of the ways that Tyra's ego showed itself, but was masquerading in altruism, was when they were doing the casting for season 1. And in the casting for season 1, she wanted to have a Latina. Now, it's not lost on me that in the early 2000s, J-Lo and them and Ricky Martin and the Selena movie, all those things that had popped off in the late 90s, the 2000s, the early 2000s were ripe with like the Latin explosion, right? The Latin explosion was such a big thing in the early 2000s. So Tyra tries to make it seem like, oh, I'm fighting for Latinos, like she's Bad Bunny, version 1.0. Bitch, no, it's going to be good television. But she says in the documentary, like Les Moonves, who actually was one of the most powerful people in Hollywood back then and still now, right? Les Moonves, who's the husband of Julie Chen from Big Brother, is still one of the most powerful men in Hollywood 20 plus years later. So they said Tyra got so mad at Les Moonves for saying that she couldn't have a Latina because she already had a black. Back in the day, you could only have one black, one Asian, or one Latino. You had to pick one. They were interchangeable, right? And so when she fought to have a Latino on, they said that Tyra was yelling at this man so bad. You know what happens when a Sash gets mad? It looked like she was about to beat him up. They said it almost got physical. Tyra cussed out the most powerful man in Hollywood at the time to make sure that the Latina was on the show. And I know she thinks that makes her look good. And it does, until you talk to the Latina in question about how being in the presence of Tyra Banks damn near ruined her life. About how the edit was anti-Black and anti-brown. About how her whole story arc was how she had no self-esteem. Shout out to Giselle from season 1. For Tyra to fight for you to be on the show, but did not keep you safe, what it makes me think of is when people are pro-life and work so hard under conservative values to say that life starts at inception or conception or whatever, but then do nothing to keep those babies safe in Black and brown communities after they're born. You care more about the baby when it's in the belly than creating a world for it to be safe once it comes out. That's what Tyra feels like. She cared more about the concept of being the Joan of Arc of conventionally unattractive bitches. She cared more about the concept of that than actually the safety and the reality via her execution, right? So Giselle is a wreck. Even seeing her now, mind you, me and a lot of these girls, they're slightly older than me, but we're sort of in the same age range. So somebody said, I'm fading. What do you mean I'm fading? Is my Wi-Fi? Oh, my Wi-Fi is acting up again. I don't know what's happening, guys. I don't know of all the... Tyra, is this you? I haven't had Wi-Fi issues on here in a while. It's probably the rain. I'm going to be honest, guys. I can't fight the rain. I can't stand the rain. Shout out to... I can't stand the rain because right now, you guys are not going to be able to see me any more clearer. It's getting blurry. Yeah, I'm looking down. It is getting blurry. Oh, this sucks. I was so looking forward to this. Guys, should we redo this? Because this concerns me because I have to do Carlos's show. And I can't be blurry on Carlos's show because him and Dustin are going to laugh at me, child. I don't know why it's always my Wi-Fi no matter where I live. Hold on. Yes, justice for Ebony. We're going to get to Ebony in a second. All right, guys. We're going to push through. It's unfortunate that I'm coming through blurry. I might have to tell Carlos's team that I can't do the show because I don't know what's happening. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll call Verizon. Yeah, I might have to push through and keep going. You guys say keep going. I'm gonna push through and keep going. But I might have to call Verizon to figure out why the fuck am I so blurry right now? Because this is weird. Anyways, so Tyra does the show talking about how in the inception, how tricky it was, right? And to hear her talk, you would think, oh my God, she was such a pioneer. But then you get to Ebony. I'm so happy that somebody said Ebony. Ebony is the young lady with the chocolate girl with the bald fade haircut that has now become a very famous meme. And in the very famous meme, she's crying because she's thinking she didn't get picked. And then she gets picked and she's like, oh my God, I'm still her. Yes. You all know that meme, right? Crying and then, oh my God, I'm fabulous. I've used that meme a million times. So Ebony comes on the show as a queer Black woman. Tyra immediately outs her by asking her in front of the cameras, are you okay that we talk about you being gay? Bitch, we're already on camera. You just did it. Like, you're asking for permission while doing it. So Ebony's like, yeah, I mean, I am gay, so I guess we finna do this, right? So Ebony's thinking, I have a beautiful relationship with my partner. I have always been told by my grandmother that I was beautiful, even though growing up as a child, my nickname was ugly because I was dark. Finally, I get to do something where my beauty is being championed outside of just my grandma's beauty salon. And I get to show how loving my relationship is, right? And if you remember those episodes, because they did show some clips, it shows Ebony and her partner hugging and kissing and being tender with each other. So Ebony's thinking, this is wonderful. Representation matters. I never thought in 2003 that I would be able to show me and my girlfriend as a Black woman, as a queer Black woman, right? And Tyra's always talking about representation until one day Tyra calls her into her office and she's thinking that Tyra's going to just check on her, see how she's doing. Instead, Tyra says to her, hey, yo, so Ebony, we just found out that you've been getting complaints for showing up to the set ashy. The word ashy in a professional setting is incredibly political, and we all know why. Not, hey, you have a skin condition, or hey, we want to make sure that we have a moisture routine. She looked at this young lady's face who had only left high school 3 years earlier when Ebony said, I was still a baby. It had only been 3 years since I left high school. And one of my idols is looking me in the face sternly and saying, so I heard you showing up to on set ashy. So then they put her on this skincare oil routine to make her drip her entire body in oil because she's too fucking ashy. And now the other girls, including Giselle, the Latina, are saying, hey, Ebony, your oil routine is a little greasy. Can you make sure you wash your hands? Because whenever we touch the doorknobs, we can still feel your grease. Do you know how embarrassing it is as a Black woman to be told by one of your idols that you are ashy and then have everybody else in the room, including other people of color, complain now about your skincare routine because you're so scared of being ashy, you're dripping your body in oil every day just to maintain a shred of your dignity? And then it's time to do the makeovers, and you already have a fade. You got about a half an inch of hair. They had a video clip of 2 or 3 white women playing in her naps, playing in her beautiful 4C hair. I'm saying those words on purpose so you can get the visceral, okay? Imagine you're sitting there as a dark-skinned Black woman who's already been called an ashy person, and they're playing in the 1 inch of hair you have and laughing as they're buzz cutting it. Why are you buzz cutting somebody who already has a fade? You just want to play in her hair. And the finalists were still white women. All that rigmarole about equality and changing the face of beauty and how I want to show that beauty is not just one way. And yet the winner was still a white girl. The winner was still a skinny white girl. Tyra, I would love to say that one day Tyra Banks will pay for her sins, but I feel like Tyra Banks moving to Australia and marrying that white man, it makes sense to me. And I have nothing against interracial relationships. and it still makes sense to me. We often talk about Black men who think that they are capital, right? They think capitalism has, forget black or white, the only thing that matters is green. I feel like Tyra Banks might be one of those kind of people, which is wild because capitalism is inherently racist. So that's not how that works, my friend. I thought you went to Harvard. Oh, no, you didn't. You did the online program. My bad. Anyways, so the show finally airs after these girls have been put through these rigorous humiliation rituals. And Jay Manuel, who used to be Tyra Banks' makeup artist, he was the creative director at the time. And somebody said, is Tyra better now or still giving Gabrielle Union energy? Gabrielle Union has actually confessed to being a mean girl and called her shit out and taken full accountability. So I actually do not want to compare them because I don't think Tyra Banks would even know where to start. Tyra Banks is good at feigning accountability, but she always has an excuse. So I actually think that's a disservice to Gabrielle Union. So the show comes out, and when it premieres, Tyra is nervous. She's running around. Her and Jay Emmanuel at the time were very close. He's like, she kept running into the bathroom. She was freaked out. And then, yes, Tyra has a son. She has a biracial son with her man, and they all live in Australia. Then Jay Manuel, who had been doing the makeup for Iman and David Bowie, said the day that Top Model premiered, Iman and David Bowie called him to say, you found your purpose. This is amazing. The show is instantly successful, right? And what's funny is, and I'm going to read my notes, it says here, Iman and David Bowie called Mr. J to congratulate him right after the premiere, but the models admit they had deep ongoing insecurities because of the sensational and demeaning edit. Imagine you're excited because there's billboards all over Times Square, there's billboards all over your community saying that you're going to be on this amazing new show. And the show edit comes out, and it is all a humiliation ritual. They made sure to edit and showcase all of the most embarrassing and demeaning things in the name of entertainment. So when Tyra called the young lady Ashy, that kind of set the tone for how everybody would be flattened into an archetype for entertainment, and modeling was secondary. The show part of show business was very, very loud in cap locks, but the modeling part was in lowercase as a footnote. Then they get to season 2, because obviously you're going to get renewed for season 2, right? And in season 2, the studio says, we need an attractive white man. You can't just be having these two people of color and who are gay. You can't just be having these two gays be your co-stars. We need an attractive white man. They got Nigel Barker, who is half Sri Lankan. Close enough. He's British. I feel like the reason why they didn't care that Nigel Barker was half Sri Lankan is because he was British, and so that felt like very white. Yes? Something about the British culture. Well, not something. Let me not act like it's a Scooby-Doo mystery. You know, the Brits are like the epicenter of colonization. So it's almost like him being half British made up for him being half Sri Lankan, and he was fine as fuck. So they literally said, we are only bringing this man on because he's attractive and straight and white. And Nigel knew. And Mr. and Miss J knew. They all knew. First of all, I have a question. Jay Manuel mentioned that his parents are from South Africa, which is why the racial stuff always bothered him. I always thought he was Latino. Hold on, Manuel. Jay Manuel ethnicity. Is he not Latin? He's Italian and South African. This entire time I thought he was Latin. Just like I just found out 2 months ago that my birthday twin Kaylani is not Latina. She's Filipino and Black. Somebody said he's actually adopted. Okay, but they're saying he's biracial. They're saying that he's white and Black. When he mentioned South Africa, I was like, now hold on. Is this another Kaylani? Okay, I was today with a face like that and a name like Jay Manuel. It was given Oyo como va to me, but maybe I just see my people everywhere I go. The diaspora, the lines are blurred. Yes. So now this is the part that I want to get to, and actually, I'm going to pull up a clip real quick because for the sake of time, we only have about 45 minutes. There was a young lady on the show named Shandy. Actually, let me keep on playing the clip I was playing earlier because I feel like if there was ever one person, somebody said Kaylani as of what now? Yeah, Kaylani is Black. Girl, I just found out myself. Kaylani is Black and Filipino. Like her, the singer. Whole time I thought she was Mexican, which I loved, but sorry guys. Not Puerto Rican. She's not Puerto. J Manuel's not Puerto Rican. Kehlani's not Puerto Rican. We just keep on calling. The only person who's Puerto Rican is Bad Bunny. Okay, Bad Bunny. So we made a mistake. But let me play this clip some more because I realized I didn't never finish playing it.
Maybe she take her clothes off, people will recognize her. Take your clothes off, Tyra. Yes! I'm so sorry you have to go through this again. Yes! Creator and executive producer of America's Next Top Model, Kim Monk. J Manuel fan ass. Are you finished this documentary already? I told y'all when the trailer drops. I see y'all bright and early on the 16th. What's today? The 16th. Miss J, the former president of UPN, Don, Shannon from Cycle 1, Ebony. Damn, me being excited when Shandy came on screen and I knew she was about to tell us all the tea is exactly.
This is Shandy now. Shandy was the skinny blonde girl who worked at Walgreens. That was her storyline the entire year.
What Tyra Banks was talking about when she said y'all asked for this shit. Because, like, even though the show not on no more, I'm asking to know the business that went on, which means you have to relive everything that happened. So, and Nigel Barker. Y'all not doing nothing at work anyway, and apparently it's a holiday. Make sure you watch Reality Check.
What holiday is it again? I forgot today was supposed to be a holiday.
Like Inside America's Next Top Model, available to stream on Netflix now.
You knew what you were doing for the show.
Let me tell you, Danielle had her foot on Tyra's ass the entire show. That's how I know that Tyra is not an EP on this. Every single time Tyra would try to give an Obama speech, like, you know what? I'm taking accountability. And I hope that when it's your turn, you're going to take accountability too, because it will be your turn. Edit. This is Danielle. Girl, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, who edited this? They made sure, oh, it's Barack Obama President's Day. Oh, that's the only president that I recognize right now. Okay, that's good to know. But no, Danielle, look, you see this look? I'm happy I paused here. She has smoked for Tyra the entire documentary. Tyra gave a speech at the end that you could tell she thought was going to be the mic drop. Here come Danielle. Girl, shut the hell up. Anybody listen to that bullshit? I loved it. Chef's kiss to the editor, okay? You didn't do the deep dive that we deserved, but you were deeper than Tyra probably expected when she agreed to fuck with y'all. So I love that for us, okay? You did your best.
You were making good for TV at my expense.
Yep.
So I couldn't sleep, so I decided to watch the America's Next Top Model documentary, and it is absolutely terrible. Like, mind you, when I say terrible, the documentary is good because it gives me an insight on what I was really looking at as a teenager, but it's showing me that the show was...
By the way, guys, Barack Obama's been saying there's aliens for like 5 years. I'm so shocked that you're all just hearing this from this podcast clip. He's been saying that since he left office. This is not new.
Terrible. And to think that this is a show that I was obsessed with, like, I wanted to be a part of this show so bad. Yeah. And now I'm looking back, like, the way that Tyra ruined so many people's lives, their self-esteem, it is just so crazy. Like, I'm only on the first episode of the documentary, and I'm watching the part where Ebony, the one black girl, she's very, she's dark-skinned, short hair, and they chose her to be on this show. That's the bad part. Like, they actually picked these girls to be on the show, and the way they treated that girl, like the way they had a meeting with her, called her in there, making her think they were going to say something important, and Tyra proceeds to say, I was told by some of the producers that you were showing up to the show ashy. Out of all the words you would use, why would you use ashy on national television with a black woman?
Yep.
You couldn't find any other word. And like the girl was saying, they didn't say she had skin conditions or they could help her with something. Like, they just chose the word ashy. And then the way they played in her hair, she already had like a shaved head, but she had like a little piece in the middle that was like, I don't know, it was kind of giving like minor finger waves or something, but it was real cute. The way those white women and white men played in her hair is insane. Like, it really pissed me off. And it's just crazy because it shows how, like, you really don't know shit as a teenager. Like, I didn't see anything wrong with this show when I was a kid watching it. I thought it was the best show ever. I could not wait for the next episode to drop. I would sit there and watch episodes over and over and over. And now at my adult age, it pisses me off so bad the way she treated those women. And it's like some of the women on there now saying that some of the things that they told them on that show ruined their career forever.
By the way, for the person who said Tyra really has a problem with dark-skinned sisters, there's a video that's included in this compilation where somebody mentions that there has been speculation that her beef with Naomi Campbell and the fact that Naomi Campbell made her feel so small is something that she ended up taking out on dark-skinned people, including Tiffany, the young lady that she infamously yelled at. I don't think Tyra hates dark-skinned women. I think Tyra felt rejected by Naomi, and that rejection has been taken out on dark-skinned women ever since. It's like this weird admiration that turned into resentment. What I call that is fuck you, sundress. You know when a man hits on a girl like, hey, sundress, come over here, Eps, give me your number. And sundress is like, oh, I'm sorry, I got a man. He's like, well, fuck you then, sundress. It feels very fuck you, sundress. It feels like, because Tyra has made it very clear that she was deeply hurt by how Naomi Campbell didn't want to be her friend because Naomi found her fucking annoying. Shit, I find her fucking annoying, to be honest, right? Naomi finding her annoying and making her feel small, I feel like other dark-skinned women who are in the modeling industry and who are under Tyra's counsel have paid for that. I do believe they have paid for that.
It made their self-esteem low. It made other agencies not want to work with them. And then the part that pissed me off even more is Tyra like not taking any accountability for what happened. Like she's just like, oh, I was giving them a taste of the real world, the real industry. Okay, I get it. Back then they didn't want models to be like 100 pounds soaking wet, have a certain skin color, a certain height. I get it. But it's just like by the time that show reached millions of people and it became one of the most popular shows in the world, you didn't have the upper hand to start changing what was accepted in the modeling industry, and all you did was break those women down. That's it. Nothing more.
So apparently there are no sacred cows in Hollywood.
Oh, that was Tyra's excuse, by the way, guys. There's no sacred cows. And what she means by that, nobody's exempt, everybody's replaceable. And so when she had to fire Nigel Barker, Mr. J, and Miss J, she said, well, we got a directive from when the president of the CW, because UPN changed from the CW, when the female president of the company stepped down and this man took over, he called me and said, you have to get rid of the two gays and the other guy, the Sri Lankan, right? And they were hoping that doing this would, create some new energy. And she said that she was devastated that she had to call her people and fire them, but that there were no sacred cows, and that if she hadn't fired them, she might have been fired herself. Ken Mock and Tyra Banks created the show. They will always get a paycheck from the show. The only thing Tyra could be fired from would be hosting. The only thing that Tyra was worried about was having less camera time. She's still getting a shit ton of money on the back end. Because for those who don't remember, in season 22, after season 22, for the last 2 years of the show, Rita Ora, who I feel would take any job she could get her hands on. Y'all remember when they told Rita Ora she was going to be the next Rihanna? And then we all found out that she wasn't black. I said, no, girl, no, you're not. Remember that? Remember when Rita Ora was convinced that she was going to be the racially ambiguous Rihanna and nobody gave a fuck? Well, Rita Ora back then would take any fucking job she could get her hands on. And so even when Tyra was fired, she was only fired from being the host because she was being weird and scaring people. She was still getting a check. You're not going to compare you not being the face of the brand for 18 months to you firing people. And what's interesting about the firing, and I have some notes on this because Jay Manuel, I can see why he moved the way he moved. Jay Manuel was very much like me in the sense of, if you are my friend and I love you, I will always have your back. Sometimes even if you're wrong, it's going to take me a little bit longer because I want you to be safe and I don't want the world to come after you, right? So he admits that him and Tyra were like besties when they first started the show because he was the first person that they hired, right? No, second person. The first person they hired was Miss J. The second person they hired was Jay Manuel right afterwards. And him and Tyra would lay in the same bed and have hopes and dreams and create vision boards and work on what they were going to do with the show. He was her ace spoon coon, her bestie, which means that he got into the habit of doing things to please her. He was a people pleaser. When he got to season 7 and 8 and started to see the racist shit happening, right? Like the race swapping, where they had white women dressed in blackface and said, isn't this beautiful? We covered this Nordic blonde in black makeup and gave her a nappy wig because we want the world to see how beautiful black is. I still don't see the correlation, right? He said after that season, he was like, you know what? I'm from South Africa, okay? I actually know what apartheid looked like. This ain't it. That's almost a direct quote, guys. This nigga said, I'm from South Africa, my nigga. I know what this is. Count me out. And he said oh, I'm choking. Is Tyra trying to shut me up? My throat chakra. He said that him and Tyra had a pact, a besties pact, ever since season 4, that if they ever had some grievance, they would come to each other directly and never use the show as a buffer between them. So Jay Manuel said he was so nervous because when people pleasers are finally telling the truth, they get so fucking nervous because it's a foreign fucking thing for them to tell the truth and not worry about pleasing others. By the way, shout out to people who are taking my class. We just did a whole people pleaser class like 2 weeks ago. So he says, Tyra told me if I ever had a problem, I could come to her. He writes her this lovely message about how much he appreciates the opportunity, how much he loves her, and that he just feels like after season 8, it might be his time to go. And that he really appreciates the opportunity and creatively he wants to do other things. Tyra ignores him for 3 days. Silent treatment, by the way, is a form of emotional manipulation. When you see one of your best friends who you know is a people pleaser, whose people-pleasing ways you bank on and have been banking on for decades, finally have the bravery to tell you the truth, and you say nothing for 3 days, that's punitive. You know exactly what the fuck you're doing to somebody like that. You know exactly what the fuck you're doing to somebody like that. The same Jay Manuel who Tyra would sit around talking shit about Janice Dickinson behind her back, and Jay, being the protective friend, would cuss out Janice on camera on Tyra's behalf, and Tyra would just be there smiling like, "Ooh, look at them," knowing that she's the one who put the battery in Jay's back to attack Janice, because Janice was a racist old white lady, let's be honest, right? But to you weaponize his loyalty to you to get him to be your mouthpiece and to say the things that you were too much of a two-faced coward to say yourself. And now, after a decade of service, he finally says, "Baby, I love you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I think I want to pivot to something else." And you intentionally ignore him for 3 days. And when you finally respond to his long, heartfelt message, you only write 3 words: "I am disappointed." I know what you are, Tyra Banks. And Jay said, "I am disappointed." He was heartbroken. He calls Tyra to see if they can talk. She doesn't pick up. He goes on vacation. And while he's on vacation in St. Lucia, his representatives, his attorney, call him and says, "Hey, so in no uncertain terms, Tyra Banks and her team are requesting that you stay for at least 1 more season. And if you don't, you're going to be blacklisted." Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. Wait. Not only you said that we were never going to let people come in between us. That's why I directly emailed you. And all you said was, "I am disappointed." And then you had your team call my lawyer to tell me that if I don't do at least 1 more season, I will never have another job again in this industry. I'm your best friend. What the fuck? And then he says, so the new season starts, season 9, and he is sick to his stomach because he's like, "Tyra has not said a single word to me since I sent her that email, except for those 3 words that she emailed back to me. I hope we can make this work." He sits down next to her. They're on set. He looks at her. She says nothing to him. She says absolutely nothing to him. And he's like, "Why the fuck would you have me come back for season 9 if you're not going to speak to me? I'm the creative director. I'm your second in command. What the fuck is going on?" So imagine they're sitting in this American Idol style with Tyra in the middle and him flanked on the left and Miss J on the right. And they're sitting there, and Jay Manuel, you can literally see it. They show the footage. He's like, "My friend is refusing to talk to me, but we're about to go on camera. I mean, we're about to start doing the show. What the fuck?" So he's sitting there completely like stuck. And they go, "Action." The minute they yell action, Tyra smiles, lights up, and puts her arm around him and says, "Jay, what do you think? You think she's good?" And Jay's like, yeah, I think she's great." And that's when he realized, she will never talk to me again unless we're on camera. To ignore somebody who's sitting right next to you, and the minute the cameras roll, you put your arm around them. And that's... I'm not one of them church girls who uses this word, but it's giving demon. It's giving hazel-eyed demon. Thank you, guys. That is nasty word. I'm watching this like, I'm like, is nobody else bone chilled? My bones are chilled, bitch. You're nuts. You're actually, you know how close I am to Bridget. Can you imagine me ignoring Bridget after she quits, sitting next to her, pretending she doesn't exist, and the minute the cameras are on up in she probably punched me in the face. I wouldn't be able to blame her. What are you doing? And Jay was like, and that's how I learned to play the game with her. Because I had the audacity to want to be autonomous, I was no longer on her good side. And they robbed him of being creative director. And from that point forward, he could make no more decisions. And he was only supposed to be on-air talent. He had no more pull, nor more say. Mind you, his job was to keep the girls safe. If the person whose job is to keep the girls safe no longer has any power, that means the girls are extra unsafe. And this is a great segue into what happened to Shandy.
Has expressed some concerns regarding the new America's Next Top Model documentary. Shandy was in cycle 2 of America's Next Top Model.
All right, so this is Shandy, right? Shandy was this very thin, almost like olive oil tomboy that they found in the Walgreens. They made a big deal about Shandy. Shandy's at Walgreens. Shandy works at Walgreens. We need to get Shandy out of Walgreens. Shandy was also very honest, like many of the girls, that she came from a broken home and that she left home like a month after her 18th birthday. This is Shandy now. Shout out to her. My heart goes out to her so bad. This is trigger warning for anybody who is sensitive to sex SA. Okay? SA. Y'all like to say, is it consensual sex or non-consensual sex? There's no such thing as non-consensual sex. Non-consensual sex is called assault. Okay, so if you're sensitive to assault, please be careful around this part, because we're gonna, in shades, lightly talk about Shandy and what happened to her. Shandy was a young girl who left home at 18 years old. When she walked out the door, because she had saved up enough money to stay in her own place, her dad said, "Where are you going?" She said, "I'm moving out." He said, "All right, then." Didn't even chase her out the house. Shandy had no family, working at Walgreens to make ends meet. The only thing that in her life that was going good for her was she had this long-term relationship with her partner. I think his name was like Eric or something like that. And they were getting ready to get married. So they bring this girl who was about to get married. Somebody said that, okay, you guys are saying the video is low, but then you're saying that it's clear again. Which one is it, guys? Please don't be alarmist and be intentional about what you're saying, because it's distracting to me to be getting conflicting messages. So Shandy comes on the show thinking this is going to be her surrogate family, because that's how Tyra presented it. It's how Tyra presented it to everybody. You know, whenever you're working in a toxic company, or particularly a toxic nonprofit, you know that you're in trouble when they start saying, "We're family." That means they want you to do some groupthink and fuck your dignity, right? So Shandy goes on the show and is doing better than she thought. They finally take that trip to Milan. Milan was their very first ever, this is season 2. Milan was their very first ever international trip. And from that point forward, international trips would be like considered the ongoing highlight of every season. They're in Milan. They're doing all this stuff with these male models, right? They love to bring male models in back in the day on the show. They get a message saying, hey, the male models are going to come over to have cocktails with y'all after the shoot to unwind. They're all excited. They start drinking. Shandy ends up drinking about 2 bottles of wine. She is blackout drunk. The producers had told them, we're going to film you 24/7. The only time that we will not film you is if you are in the bathroom by yourself. But the second a second person goes into the bathroom with you, that is not private doo-doo time. That is a conversation that we need to have on camera, right? So this girl who weighs a buck even, she was about 100 pounds back then, right? This thin young girl, and her thinness matters because at my big age and big ass, if I had 2 bottles of wine, it'd be night juice, okay? I'd be in the fetal position with a body pillow drooling. So imagine what this girl's dealing with, right? So Shandy is drinking in the hot tub in Milan, thinking that she has a camera crew keeping her safe. You would never think you're unsafe when there's a whole fucking camera crew with there, right? And also, again, the rules. You are only unsupervised if you are in the bathroom alone. The second you go in the bathroom with somebody else, they're going to tape you. Shandy blacks out and wakes up in the shower. Jay Manuel would later confess, we were all hanging out and got a message that Shandy was having sex in the shower. And that Shandy was blackout drunk having sex in the shower. Shandy didn't consent. You can't consent when you're blackout drunk. She said, I knew sex was happening, but I was so blacked out, like I just kept on coming in and out. And then she woke up in the bed. Mind you, the camera is rolling the entire time. And they're filming this man assaulting her, raping her on camera. And nobody intervened. This young lady got assaulted on camera season 2. Not only did no one intervene, the very next day, Tyra comes to meet the girls. Shandy is a sobbing wreck. She's crying. They literally show her on the show sobbing, crying. She doesn't remember what happened. She just knows that somebody slept with her without her consent. Tyra sits down at a table with her and the girls and starts to give a speech about how, hey guys, I know we're in a different country, but it's not a good idea to cheat on your boyfriend. You need to have better control over your vagina. Tyra repackaged Shandy's sexual assault as her cheating on her boyfriend, and the episode was called The Girl Who Cheated. It became one of the most iconic episodes in the history of the show and was marketed so heavily. The only reason they didn't show the full assault for entertainment was because right before the show was about to come out, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake were on the Super Bowl halftime show, infamous titty incident, and there was a crackdown on indecency. There was a crackdown on indecency because of Janet Jackson's right teat, and that is the only reason why they didn't air the full grape. That's the only reason. They aired most of it, though. Months later, oh, guess what else they aired? Shandy said, "Can I please go home?" They said no. She said, "I need to go home." They said no. She said, "Can I at least call my boyfriend?" She calls her boyfriend and is sobbing. And he's like, "What's wrong? What did you do?" And she said, "The worst thing you could think happened." And he said, "You slept with somebody? You cheated on me? You fucking bitch, I hate you." Shandy said when they filmed that scene, she thought she was alone, but there was an audio tech and a cameraman who were assigned to her who had to follow her around. As she's sobbing on the phone, listening to the love of her life break up with her, despite wanting to marry her previously because she was assaulted. And it was packaged as consensual infidelity, right? So she's getting broken up with 24 hours after being raped. And she said when the cameraman and the sound guy finished filming the scene, they walked over to her and said, "We are so sorry that we had to tape that." That became the clip, the promo clip for the entire episode. Shandy gets dumped right after being raped. Tyra makes the entire cast come on her talk show. Shandy says, "I'm damaged from what happened to me on this show. I've never seen that scene. I'm disgusted you aired it. Please don't air it if I go on the show." Shandy sits down, and the minute Tyra looks at her, Tyra leans over and smiles and says, "Watch this." And she plays the grape on her talk show for the entire audience. And Shandy, a victim, is shaking and looking down. And Tyra pauses and says, "Why weren't you watching? Why were you looking down? I just noticed you were looking down. Why weren't you watching the scene? Are you ashamed? Is Eric still with you? Oh, Eric broke up with you because you cheated on him." Tyra Banks is a monster. The very predators that she, in the beginning of her career, was victim to, the very folks that she wanted to get her lick back at, the minute she got a taste of success, she became them. She became the very monster she claimed that she was fighting. She started telling girls who were 25 and up, "You're too old for this industry." She started telling girls who were 120 pounds, "You're too fat. Why are you so fat? You need to lose weight." I know I talk about body positivity, but you still got to fit into the clothes, fat ass. The whole race swapping thing that they did, 9 seasons later, they redid it, even after backlash. They did it a second season. They did blackface twice, guys. Jay Manuel, who tried to quit and then realized his friend was a demon who wouldn't talk to him unless the camera was rolling. He stayed on for 10 more seasons. And then season 18, he gets a call saying, "You've been let go." And he was like, "Tyra, you threatened to blacklist me and told me I couldn't get any other work. So I've been here for 10 cycles past when I wanted to quit because you made it impossible for me to leave. And now you're firing me? Now you're firing me?" He said it was like being slapped and then slapped again, because you could have let me go when I wanted to, and I could have salvaged my career before the show became the clusterfuck that it is right now. And so they have a meeting, and Tyra is like, that's when she says, there's no sacred cows. I was between a rock and a hard place. That was her, by the way. She kept blaming Massa the entire time. It was like watching Samuel L. Jackson in Django Unchained, pretending like he wasn't a co-conspirator in the demise of the other slaves. You might be a minority in this, but you're a different kind of minority. You're a mezzanine between the oppressed and the oppressors. Yes? You're a semi-oppressor. So Tyra, as the overseer of this fucking show, look in the camera like, oh, you know, it was so hard. There's no sacred cows. There's no sacred cows. There's no sacred cows, right? After what she did to Shandy, she's now about to fuck over her friends, right? You made sexual assault a ratings hit. You titled an entire episode after someone's assault, and then kept re-victimizing her after the day after the assault happened, the very next day, and then did it again weeks later, forcing her to watch her on assault on camera, and then chastised her for not being able to watch herself being assaulted in front of your studio audience. And now you want sympathy because you're about to fire your friends. So Jay Manuel and Miss J and Nigel Barker, who had all become thick as thieves because they were all basically, they had a shared enemy. They were trauma bonding, right? Because Tyra was victimizing all of them. They're all stunned by this, right? Nigel Barker's like, I've been here since season 2. I've been here 17 fucking cycles. You guys have watched my children grow up. And they were like, you know what? This is the part that really reminded me of Melissa Ford. When I quit Melissa Ford's show, I said, Melissa, let's have a dignified exit for me because I've quit. Let's do a show where we put a brave face because the audience who loves us deserve a nice, clean ending. Melissa blocked me and then lied to everybody and said that I had quit the show because my family was like damn near homeless and had no money and I had to go save my mother. Bitch, when we go out, your card gets declined. I've been paying for our meal since I met you. What you mean I'm the broke one? But more on that story time on Sunday. I don't want to get too... Tyra reminds me so much of Melissa. This documentary coming out the week that I'm finally about to break my silence about me and Melissa Ford feels like God giving me a forehead kiss of approval. Because now I'm amped up thinking about the damage that bitches like this cause, right? People whose job is to be pretty, but who are actually ugly in the ways that matter, trigger me. And they probably trigger me because I trigger them because they can tell that their beauty is not enough for me to have to see through them, right? So Tyra has the same meeting that Melissa had with me. Oh, we're going to have a dignified exit. It's going to be lovely. The very next day, it's leaked all over the press that they've been fired by Tyra Banks. No dignified exit. Oh, honey, when I talk on Sunday, I didn't wait 6 years to not tell the fucking truth. We're going to talk on Sunday, okay? This is a bad week for ugly, pretty bitches. It's a bad week for y'all. So, Jay Manuel and Miss J and Nigel Barker now have to do damage control because they've just been completely run over the bus by a friend who said, I had no choice. I'm going to protect you. And Jay Manuel was like, I've been on the show for 18 seasons. Nothing gets leaked without Tyra's approval. Nothing. It has not happened in 18 seasons. Suddenly me getting fired gets leaked. Nasty work. Tyra Banks, you're not a good person. I'm looking over my notes. Tyra started to flex because, let me look at the stats. The show had become huge. 100 million people were watching the show in 180 countries with global spinoffs. And they shifted to doing 2 cycles a year after Shandy's sexual assault helped them become 10 times more popular. The drama of the girl who cheated episode helped push them into doubling their order from the rest of time onward. Guys, I thought I could do more of this documentary, but I am so... You taped that young girl. Oh, I'm getting so mad. You taped that young girl blacked out, being violated. You taped it. You watched her listless body being ravaged by a stranger. And rather than be ashamed of yourself, you made it your promo. Y'all, the documentary on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 7. It was a C. I will say this, though. There's a second documentary that's going to be coming out on March 11th on E. This one is going to feature Janice Dickinson. It's going to feature some of the other girls who didn't make it onto this one. And I will be watching the March 11th one. That doesn't include Tyra. I'll be. Oh yeah, you got for you. Y'all don't know. Let me start playing the clips again.
No sacred cows.
Bitch. There might be no sacred cows, but there's plenty of bitches.
And I heard that meaning you too, Tyra.
So in this new clip from the documentary about America's Next Top Model, where we have Tyra Banks and some of the other people that were on the show actually talking about the behind the scenes of the show and what actually happened, Tyra kind of goes into details about how she had to deliver the news that they were getting rid of J. Manuel, Mrs. J, and also Nigel Barker. And these were actual rocks within the show.
She was willing to do anything for her show, however you want to look at that clearly.
These are.
By the way, Janice was a racist white woman. And I will say this, we always knew Janice was a racist white woman. I prefer a racist white woman who's being a racist white woman than the sister who's pretending to have my back while using my assault as entertainment. They both suck to me. I just think the Tyras of the world are more dangerous than the obvious villains that live amongst us. So I agree. And if anything, having two villains not like each other is the trash taking itself out. So I look forward to seeing Janice Dickinson finally tell the full, nasty, ugly truth that only somebody as nasty as her could really fully understand to tell.
Are the people that, to me, were key figures inside of the show. So it's kind of interesting that they were the ones targeted and were actually fired from the show for whatever reason. We don't know what the reason is because we haven't watched the documentary yet. And that quote there, "No sacred cows," is very like rings true, especially in the corporate world. I work in corporate
The face that Jay Manuel is making is the face I was making the entire time watching the documentary.
America, and a lot of times people are working at jobs or doing tasks that you feel like, hey, you know, they can't replace me, but they actually can.
And I know now in 2026, you know, a lot of us are a lot more aware on just kind of how problematic the show was. But at the same time, I'm not about to let y'all rewrite history. I definitely see both sides. I see a lot of criticism of Tyra over the years. But at the same time, I do think that a lot of the criticism is also misplaced. Now, we know that Tyra has to take a lot of accountability, but we can
For the person who said Ken is the villain, I agree. It's in the clip.
not forget about this face either, Ken Mock, who's one of the producers. But also, all of y'all.
Oh yes, Miss J. When Miss J had a stroke in December 27th of 2022, Nigel Barker and Jay Manuel showed up to the hospital. As of now, 3 years later, Tyra Banks has still never checked up on him. And it wasn't until the documentary was announced to be coming out that she hit him up and said, "I'm gonna do my best to come see you." My nigga, it's been 3 years. He could barely talk or walk. The man who helped young ladies strut for a living can no longer walk and is in a wheelchair. And it's been 3 fucking years and you still haven't seen him. But Nigel Barker and Jay Manuel were by his bedside holding him while he wept. Ooh, sorry. Tyra, you're a nasty piece of work. The fact that 12-year-old me looked up to you, disgusting. I'm disgusted.
We have to take some accountability in it too. There's a lot of contestants that, quite frankly, I need to hear from. And I can tell why they're not going to be included on this, because over the years, a lot of these contestants have become really vocal and critical of Tyra. And anything that Tyra is going to be involved in, you can best believe that even in 2026, she is going to make sure that she has some type of control over the narrative. Now, you're talking to a real ANTM fan. Like, I don't forget nothing. And cycle 1 is probably where it has like the forgotten winner, which is Adrienne Curry. How many of y'all remember Adrienne Curry, the first ever winner of America's Next Top Model? Now, even though Adrienne would go on later on to become more of a reality TV star and then also be known to be married to, you know, Christopher Knight, who also played Peter Brady, the reason why she was like the forgotten winner of America's Next Top Model is because she was too vocal and critical and probably too honest too early. I would want to hear from someone like Tiffany from Cycle 4. Remember that infamous scene? Rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Right. I'd also want to hear from Lisa D'Amato, who part of Cycle 5 and also the All-Star Cycle. And you know what? I know Lisa has had her own share of controversies in regards to her sharing her story, but one thing about it, Lisa could model. As a matter of fact, Lisa recently took to her Instagram to make some posts about the new documentary that's just got announced. You can see here, I don't trust anything she touches. And also, she has a bathing suit on, but you know Instagram and TikTok be playing. Also from her Instagram, she posted, "Am I in the new Netflix ANTM show? No." And then she says, "From my understanding, she has a heavy hand in the creative. Y'all know what that means." And quite frankly, I have to agree with her. I just kind of feel like if we were going to get a real raw and honest take about the experiences of the girls and also behind the scenes, regardless of any type of backlash that Tyra has really already received over the years, I'm kind of like side-eyeing the documentary on just how honest it's going to be. I want to hear more about the racial swapping photo shoots. Whose creative idea was it really? How did the girls really feel about this type of shoot? And also, listen, I know now in 2026, like this is
those who are asking, Nigel has been Switzerland this entire time and nothing has changed. He was like, look, I was a photographer. I was cute. They needed a cute photographer. I was nice to everybody. Nigel, it's so funny. Nigel and Miss J had the most integrity. J. Manuel was the best friend who realized that he was backing the wrong horse and saw things he didn't like. And the minute he spoke up, he was punished. So he's like the mezzanine level. And then after that, everybody else is the devil. Ken Mock and Tyra are probably going to both rest in piss.
Very insensitive. This is in poor taste and is also rooted in racism. But at the time, back in the early 2000s, it was a crazy time.
Oh my God, guys, I forgot something. So one of the things that Tyra would always say is, this show has to be entertaining, right? Content over everything. This is before social media was a thing. Even though she made it a point to be self-aggrandizing and let you know that influencer culture rests on the back of Top Model or whatever, right? They would ask the young ladies traumatizing things about their personal lives and then intentionally try to traumatize them by having photo shoots based on their traumas to get good television. The most nasty case, I want to pull this up before I have to go. This young lady, let me see, what was it? The girls were unsafe and passing out from starvation and dehydration. So the girls were doing shoots where they were swinging things on the runway that they had to duck so they wouldn't like get a concussion. So people were falling off of runways on purpose, not being fed, being dehydrated. The EMTs had to keep showing up on set and the cameras would be rolling as they were throwing up on the verge of dying. Okay. The fact that they're all alive is crazy to me. There was one girl though. She told the producers, young girl, under 25, she told the producers that her mother is in a wheelchair because she was shot by a lover who was disgruntled. That same season, they take that girl onto the show. They announce they're doing a homicide photo shoot of different girls having to model as corpses at different crime scenes. Guess which crime scene they picked for this young lady? They made her pose as a shooting victim, just like her mama. Bitch, are you fucking... I have to keep my blood pressure down, doctor's orders. You tell Tyra Banks that your mama was shot by a disgruntled man and is now in a wheelchair and by the grace of God is still alive, and she makes you pose as a shooting victim, hanging off a railing, dead on the wall. Baby, I might need an edible after this. What the fuck? Tyra Banks, you're going to hell. Seriously? This is why you went off to Australia. Actually, you know what? I'm going to wrap this up here, guys. Watch the documentary at your own apparel. I don't know why that just fucked with me extra hard. I think saying it out loud, if you're a decent human, you're disgusted by this. If you're a decent human, you're disgusted by this. And the whole time she's smizing, right? We keep forgetting the devil was beautiful in the Bible. Shout out to my Christian friends. Yeah. The devil was gorgeous. We all keep forgetting that the devil was a bad bitch, okay? Smizing. If I can take accountability, when it's your turn to take accountability, because it will be your turn. I hope you can do the same. Mic drop. And in the words of Danielle, girl, shut the fuck up. Tyra, shut the... All right, guys. This wraps up the live because I actually do not want to fuck up my mood by saying anything else that I have in my notes. I feel like we've done enough. Shout out to those of you who kept on pushing forward. For those of you who actually watched from the beginning through the blurry parts, can you please share the timestamp from where we started the Tyra recap? I will be watching the March 11th one so I can get more truth. Just smizing. Oh, by the way, Tyra had some bullshit for every question that she was asked. The one question they showed her unable to bullshit her way out of was when they asked her about J. Manuel quitting and her completely psychologically pulling away from him and being punitive to him and threatening to blacklist him. That's the only place she couldn't lie. Because she said Jay Manuel is one of the most talented people I've ever met. She said, me and Jay will talk about that privately. That's the only time even she couldn't lie. Ken Mock, the only time Ken Mock apologized was for the homicide photo shoot. Did Tyra ever sincerely? Well, I don't think she sincerely anything. When did she fake apologize? She didn't apologize for the Shandy thing. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think she really apologized for anything. Oh, she did. The one thing that I will say, Danielle, beautiful Danielle, who Tyra forced to close her gap. Tyra told Danielle, if you don't close your gap, I'm kicking you off the show. So Danielle closed her gap. And then after Top Model, never got booked again. And when her and Tyra talked about it on the phone, Tyra, after 15 years, confessed to Danielle and said, I knew there were certain doors that you would never get into because you did Top Model. Tyra Banks admitted to Danielle that she threatened her to stay on the show by telling her she had to close her gap, knowing that after she closed her gap, she would never be booked again. And she still made her have elective surgery against her will. That's why Danielle has her foot on that bitch's neck. Yeah. Imagine threatening a young girl to get elective surgery that she does not want, knowing that after she gets the elective surgery, that the stigma attached to Top Model in the industry means that she'll never have a career anyways. And you still did it. Yeah. Okay, guys. That's my review. Shout out to Danny. We have a couple of mutual friends who tell me that they have some insights about what she's gone through since that they want to share with me. I won't be sharing that on camera because that's sacred. But tell the truth and shame the devil week, guys. Tomorrow is the beginning of the Chinese New Year, the fire horse. Finally, the backwash of 2025 will be swigged away. I cannot wait. I might pull some cards. Stay tuned. If I pray on it and feel like I got some energy, I might pull some cards tomorrow, probably like around 2:30, 3 o'clock Pacific. Would y'all be down for that though? I don't want to do it if y'all not in the mood for it. Actually, before we go, let's do some dogs. For those who are new here, we always do an evil eye cleanse whenever we cover things that are dark. And if you had told me at 19 that Top Model would be dark, I weep for how naive and normalized we were in our dysfunction back then. Somebody said we've been asking. Oh, my bad. I didn't even realize you were asking. All right, let's play it one more time. Also, a shout out to everybody who's going to be celebrating Ramadan. I didn't realize it was this early. I thought Ramadan was usually a little bit closer to the spring. But my ex-fiance, my first fiance, was actually a Muslim nigga from Philly. And I used to do Ramadan with him. I still sometimes observe Ramadan because I love the beauty of it and the fasting and the mindfulness of it. I don't know if I'm going to do it this year. I'll see. But shout out to anybody who felt like they learned something from this recap that saved them from having to watch it. If you are triggered by bullshit, I would not recommend watching it because, again, it's not deep. It's just nasty work. The ability to be this shallow about shit this deep, that shows that depth has been chasing Tyra Banks and it still never caught her in her 50s. That's unfortunate. All right, guys, I will see you guys probably tomorrow. For those of you who missed the beginning of the intro, please understand that little pink thing at the bottom is telling you that we're having a flash sale on candles and spiritual baths. The meet and greet on St. Patty's Day is completely sold out. There's no more meet and greet tickets. For those of you who were able to get your tickets for the meet and greet, I will see you on St. Patty's Day. We're going to be wearing our green. We're going to have a lot of libations or whatever. Also, on Sunday, 2/22, at 2:22, I will be doing a members only live called What Really Happened Between Me and Melissa Ford, because this week apparently is all talking about beautiful women who are ugly on the inside. So that will be in the members only area. I will not be messy. I will just be honest and sincere about what the fuck really happened. And tomorrow, we're going to pull some cards real quick for the tarot lovers amongst us to talk about the Fire Horse New Year. All right, guys, I think that sums it up. I adore you. Please get your checkups. I learned the hard way last week that stress is a silent killer. And if you do not get your blood work, you could be a ticking time bomb and not know it. I'm on meds right now for my stress levels. There's no shame in saying that. I considered not saying it, but I was like, there's no shame in saying that. Please do not underestimate the effects of stress, even if you think you're okay. All right. Love y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye, family.